we'll go ahead and start. It's hard not to. Hopefully, everyone can see me live. Thank you for those joining us remote for the Q2 look back on Q1 all hands meeting in Town Hall to kind of share updates with things that are going on around the country and around the world. So for the people sitting in this room, I don't recognize half of you without dirt all over your face from the home stretch event that we had the other day. Everyone remembers the vision that we kicked off at our first kickoff for this year. We talked about our vision of becoming the #1 MDM company in the world, and it being all around, employees and products and what we can do to inspire you and satisfy our customers. There's a few cleanup items that we have to talk from the kickoff, one being home stretch, where we didn't have an opportunity to do because of the weather. But before we talk about that and take a look back all the way from a couple days ago, going back into the quarter, if you remember, there was a very flattering video done of me, and I made a joke to some references in the past about, if you recall, some of you weren't there, but there was a charming video of me and my propensity to ask everyone to watch the money and watch our bottom line. And I told the story about my mom and growing up and how she would use her tea bag twice was one of the interesting anecdotes that I threw out there. And just to prove to you it wasn't an anecdote, I was at my mom's house just a month after that. And this is a live picture from my hand upstairs that was sitting on her stovetop. And I looked at it and I just smiled and got kind of a warm glow. Had to take a picture of it to show you that those stories about her using the tea bag twice are true. And she said, and I told her the story, and she says, "Leonard," she said, I do that because, it's stronger tea. I said, "Yeah, of course you do, Mom. Of course you do." So one of the other events that we had to follow up on because of the bad weather was home stretch. For those of you that are remote, whether spread out around the country or out on consulting projects or spread out around the globe, obviously you didn't have an opportunity to participate in that because it had to be rescheduled. So I'm very sorry about that. We hope we're going to be able to do it again next year at the kickoff, and where everyone again will be able to participate, weather withholding. But we did have a chance as a local Atlanta group to go out and to Home Stretch, and to let everyone recall, Home Stretch is an organization that brings in mostly underprivileged single mothers, is predominantly the group that they serve, and they provide housing and programs to help them get back on their feet. And it's not permanent. They're there for about 2 years, and it helps them to develop themselves, develop skills, get credit history of paying their bills so they can go out on their own and grow and be better. And it was fantastic being out there with so many people. We had, I think it was 38 people we ended up having, and we have a quick short video for those of you that were there to look back at it, and for those of you in the field to see what some of your colleagues accomplished.
We built this city.
Big hand for everybody who was out there. It really was a great day. Everybody was so enthusiastic and passionate. It was really a lot of fun, and when we walked away, we really saw a lot that had been accomplished there, from laying French drains, learning how to do it, to people laying flooring, to trimming and lawn cutting and landscaping. It was amazing though. It was so funny. We were standing around with a group of people moving dirt, And we sat to that, and I said, oh my God, it must be lunchtime. It was 9:38. And everybody laughed, because seriously, it was amazing how slow the time went. But it was a lot of fun. It was a great event, and really, you guys were just fantastic. And I really look forward to doing more of these, and we should come up with more ideas. And matter of fact, if people have ideas for the next event, we don't actually have to wait once a year, depending on how we structure it and everything. Feel free to ping Mary and say, hey, here's a neat charity that we could all kind of band together, and maybe we might even look at doing some fundraising for different events where we have 5Ks and things like that. I know, Eric, you talked about starting a 5K, and I think it'd be great to maybe mix that with fundraising where we raise funds for some different charities and things like that. It's a great chance for everybody to get together and give back to the community of people that really do so much for us as well in the world. So we were working hard, but we also got a little chance to play, as you saw there. Some of us, took some breaks. Some of us also played a little hoop. And what I wanted to point out here is that if you took a dollar bill, you could actually slide it right under there. That is the amount of height that I can get on that jump shot. Not a quarter, but I think I could get a dollar under there. But we had a lot of fun playing a little ball, and there's a lot of creativity that went there. And a couple pictures another picture that didn't show up in there, was one of our fearless gentlemen in R&D. I said we were missing somebody. He is not in this room. He must have known that. See, I could sense we were missing somebody. I said, we're missing people. So, Tyler, here's how creative he is, though, because what I want you to notice is actually there was work being done, okay? He was actually holding the pipe steady. And he pointed that out as I was taking the picture. He goes, I'm working. I said, oh, I know. The definition of working smart versus hard, right? So it was great. So we really had a lot of fun. So this is all about people, so I want to just recognize some people who have been with Profisee for a little while. You can see here we have all of the people that are going to have an anniversary in Q1. We've got quite a few people in year 1, which is usually the case. And then we've got some people in years 2, 3, and 4. I won't go through naming everyone in the first year, but if everyone could help me thank those 1 through 4 year people for all the effort they put in. And then we have some longer term people. Lee Gregory, 5 years. I give Lee a hand. We have Eric Melcher, 7 years. You started here when you were like 15, right? 7 years. I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
My voice got deeper and everything.
Man. Did you have a beard when you started, though? Did you have a beard?
In 7 years to grow.
And last, but certainly not least, we have Carol Berry at 8 years, 6 quarters. So that's fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for all the work you've been putting in. And thank you for the new employees that'll be showing up here a year from now. Here are all the people we've added to the roster in Q1. There's 7 of them up there. Again, I won't go through and name everyone, but welcome to the team and the family, everybody, for joining us in Q1. So with that, we'll talk about the other thing that we mentioned at kickoff, and that was what are our priorities for Q1 and how did we do against those priorities. So we had things around setting your goals high and stretching yourself, trying new things. I've spoken to quite a few people, but certainly not everyone, about the personal development program, and I hope everyone is taking that very, very seriously and looking at yourself, talking to your manager, making sure that the leaders are helping you. We need to hear it, and we need to hear what we need to do for you. It doesn't mean we'll always be able to do everything, but we have to have that open line of communication constantly. And I urge anyone to walk in my door at any time to tell me how we can make that program better, because it is so important. That's the way we're going to grow this company, get it up to 400 employees, be the #1 MDM player in the world, is by building it around the people. So we need to invest in you, just like you invest in the company. So please share it with your manager. Walk into my office anytime and tell me the type of things that we could do differently here. As a matter of fact, one of the things that as I was putting this together, and my mistake, I said we make mistakes. I promised that we were going to ask for feedback on the kickoff, and we never sent out the survey. My fault, I forgot totally about it. I asked Jeff this morning, and we're going to send it out next week so everyone can share with us some of their thoughts about for next year, what can we do to make it even more productive for you? Because it is about helping you see the vision of the company, educate you, motivate you, share more information, give you more insight, all those different things. And we need to hear back from you on what we can do to make that better. And we're certainly celebrating the success today and hopefully having some fun. So here were the actual financial metrics that we had, because another one of our priorities, obviously, as always, is to achieve plan. So here's how we did against each of those numbers. And let me walk through a couple things. So you can see on the license revenue, let me start here. Total revenue, we were within about $90,000 of making the revenue goal. And we have some pretty aggressive goals. So I want to let everybody know these are very aggressive, and hitting these goals is fantastic. We just almost made it a little bit short, which brings me to a couple changes, and I want to make sure that everyone is aware of it. If you look at this top line, which has the biggest, this top row, which has the biggest impact on the revenue, is license revenue. This company historically has been 99.9% perpetual license, which means when we sell a license, let's just say we sell one for $120,000. The customer signs the contract, we recognize $120,000 worth of revenue immediately with the perpetual license. When you start to sell more subscription licenses, if that same customer signs a yearly subscription for $120,000 a year, we're only able to recognize it as a company monthly prorated over that time period. So in the case of an annual contract for $120,000 that we had signed, we'd only recognize $10,000 worth of revenue each month. So the best case scenario when you sign a deal like that is you sign at the beginning of the quarter. Best case scenario is you get 3 months of the revenue. So what we're starting to do in anticipation that we could sell more subscription deals is we're going to start tracking bookings, which means how much did we sell, right? Because if half of your deals are subscription, you're still doing very well as a company. It's just not going to show up immediately in the revenue line, and we are looking at this long term. We keep telling you that time and time again, and that's the way we're looking at it. So I'm happy to announce that we actually had our first true subscription deal ever. Tom Ara and his whole team sold a deal for $228,000 to Pack Life, $228,000 annual subscription for a 1-year subscription to Pack Life. If that deal would have been a perpetual license, which is the way we used to sell it, you would see we would have made our number, okay? So when you take a look and compare how did we do against sales versus last year, we actually increased sales about 15% year over year when you compare this quarter to last. We also would have exceeded our revenue number. Because last year we didn't incent the salespeople at all. Matter of fact, they were de-incentivized, quite frankly, to sell subscriptions. And surprise, surprise, we haven't sold any. So this year we changed the model a little bit, made it neutral either way. Now we'll get to see how much the market really wants to see subscription. So I wanted to point that out, that actually this subscription license revenue, again, if that had been a perpetual deal, we would have basically made the license revenue number and beat our company revenue number. But that's okay. The revenue is still here. It's just going to come in over months instead of immediately in Q1. From a support and maintenance standpoint, you can see we not only exceeded the number by 10% as far as the plan, that's actually 30% up over year when you compare how much support and maintenance revenue we did last year. That is a testament to the quality of the product and the quality of support, how we get to retain these customers and they stick with us. So thank you to customer support and development. Fantastic work. Consulting revenue, you can see I scraped with Sean. I said, how can we get that to $995? And he said, there's no way we can get it to $995. So unfortunately, you can see I'm going to say anyway that we made the number for consulting, which is incredible. Especially when you consider that one of the goals that the consulting group has had is to increase our utilization and profitability. And I'm happy to report that we had 86% utilization in Q1. So these guys and ladies are out there going around the globe, working hard at all these different sites. I hope the consultants are watching, because I know that most of them aren't here. We are fortunate to have a couple here today. But thank you very much. And everyone help me thank them. It's a tough job to be on the road constantly, day after day, you know, making this stuff work where the rubber hits the road, being away from home. So thank you. Great, great work. Along those lines, I would like to point out that consulting also sold the single largest one-time SOW in the history of the company. John DiLoretto sold an $800,000 SOW at Leggett & Platt, the single largest single SOW or commitment at one time from any customer in the history of Profisee. Thank you, John. Great work. Great work. That's fantastic. That shows that the customer is seeing value in the product and the implementation and consulting that we've been doing. And John has spent a lot of time out there with the customer gaining their confidence.
Next quarter,
Yeah.
What's that?
that revenue.
Depending for consulting, so for those of you that might not have heard, David Ferguson asked about the revenue for that big consulting deal, and would it be in for next quarter? So with consulting revenue, we actually recognize the revenue as we provide the services or bill it. So if you have an $800,000 deal, again, if let's say that's over 16 months, we'll make it easy for my math, then we basically would be able to recognize $50,000 of professional services revenue every month. So the professional services revenue is generated much closer to how a subscription model is done. It's as we deliver the services. Great question. Thank you for that. Subscription revenue, you can see, while the actuals were 50% of our plan, we actually doubled subscription revenue from last year. And again, I think you're going to see that go up and up. Most of this revenue is from Marketplace. We only recognize $9,000 of that $230,000 deal I mentioned before in this quarter, so you're going to see that go up quite a bit as well. Make sure I didn't miss anything on that. I think that covers most of those items. And we'll have time at the end, hopefully, for any Q&A if anyone has any questions. So one of the other huge things that happened in Q1 is we launched 6.1. Again, these types of things, it's tons of effort over a lot of time. We take the time to celebrate it at launch, but the amount of effort that goes into delivering a product like this is phenomenal. Everyone here knows that, but if everyone could help me in thanking again R&D, Q&A for all the incredible work on the incredible products that you put out that enable us to deliver the type of numbers that we're starting to accumulate. It takes a lot of effort. We greatly appreciate it. And no small note, also on time, which is another big, big factor. So all those things roll together, and if you haven't seen this, this is a site that is actually getting pretty popular and getting a lot of press that does a lot of different customer satisfaction type surveys. And if you haven't seen this, more than 96% of the users that answered gave Profisee extremely high marks, either 4 or 5 stars for customer service, quality of product, quality of doing business with us and dealing with us. And those 3 main components are, we've got just an incredible product that is not only high in functionality, but is high in quality. We deliver and implement it in a fashion that the customers appreciate, in a time frame they appreciate, and then we support it like no other company I've seen as far as the telephone support. So thank you to those 3 organizations for doing these types of things. So I wanted to share with you some other financial metrics. What you're looking at here is called an ASP analysis, or average selling price. So we're taking a look at the average selling price for a new customer, not including add-ons, but when you have a new customer, what is their average investment? What are the size of the deals that we're working with? And you can see for over the years, if you just look at FY17, it was about $200,000. Well, in a 1-year period, we've actually increased that by 25%, the average selling price. So we're doing a much better job of selling value, of leveraging our growing customer base and our growing functionality of product. Again, that's a testament to not just sales, but that's the last step. The steps that come before that are having a quality product, having quality references that enable us to start to demand more in the marketplace from a pricing perspective. Now, my gut feel, and it's just a gut feel, is this will start to tail off. I believe that we'll start to hit that, a leveling off period, probably not too far off of what we're looking at there. And it can vary from quarter to quarter depending on the size of the companies. But that range to me of $250,000 to $300,000 is really what I was striving for when I looked at the market and where we were at the time when I started. So thank you everyone for contributing to that, because that's what causes the rising tide. Another great success we've had is in pipeline. We talked about market awareness, right? I've been here almost a year now, and that was the first thing that we talked about was market awareness. We're now at $44 million in rolling 4-quarter pipeline. So just to remind everyone, we take a snapshot of today's date and look forward 1 year and see how much pipeline do we have? How many customers do we think are interested in talking to us and about possibly investing in master data management? And again, if you look at trends, right, we always have to look at trends. Can't be a snapshot. How are we doing? How are we progressing? It's about growing. It's about getting better. You can see in 1 year, we've increased that pipeline about 75%. So a lot of people put a lot of effort into that, but it's led by marketing. And I want to thank marketing for the phenomenal job. Jeff, your whole team. That takes a lot of work and a lot of effort from all levels of the organization of marketing. So great job. As a matter of fact, if you look, it's basically doubled in 18 months. I mean, that's incredible. That is fantastic. Now, we have some other things to now work on, but I want to make sure I shared that with you. It's very important. The other things, if you look here by pipeline source, I'd like to point out that we get about over 43% of the pipeline is now generated by partners, which is up phenomenally. I didn't do a trend on that because we only have 45 minutes, but it's up tremendously from a year and 2 years ago. And that's a testament to the efforts that Greg O'Sullivan and his team are putting into building up the partner channel. Matter of fact, they signed 10 new partners last quarter and some really high visibility partners like Protiviti that put a tremendous amount of interest in the marketplace about adjacent markets like GDPR. Matter of fact, about a third of our sales comes from revenue generated by our partner community. So big round of applause and thank you to the channel team for all their efforts and what they're doing for the company to continue to help us grow. And we'll talk more about some of the priorities we have. But before we get to that, I do want to hit what we always like to do for these quarterly meetings, and that's recognize employees for particularly outstanding service in different areas. So the first award we're going to talk about is teamwork. And a lot of different things go into teamwork, and a lot of times, we're talking about, things that are to do with sales and delivering product. But there's a lot of people that help those people do their jobs, that's create an environment where we're actually be able to thrive, and very often it's overlooked. And this particular team member, while I don't believe is overlooked by any means, we wanted to make sure that we presented her with a special award. So Judy, thank you very much for all you do behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, for the whole company. Judy is teamwork right now. She's in a car with I don't know how many grandchildren, driving I don't know how many hours, but that's the epitome of teamwork. So Judy, I really hope you're watching. Thank you so much. Everybody appreciates all the things you do, and we know you're the oil that keeps this machine running on a daily basis, and we don't get a chance to say thank you enough. So let's say thank you again. Thank you, Judy. The next award is around customer service. Thank you very much. So customers are served in many different ways. Through phone calls. This particular instance, we want to point out someone that helps them get live and running and happy. And a lot of times you talk about some big go live where you might have an Under Armour or an Anheuser-Busch, and this person has contributed 2 big names. But the reason we wanted to recognize him today is because he's just a consistent performer of delivering top quality service time in, time out, whether it's a big brand, little brand, small project, or big project, and quite frankly, does it quite independently very often. So June, we'd like you to come up and accept this award. So thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so happy you were in today, but I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for everything. But I assume you're wondering out here in billing, right? Okay. Wait, can we edit that? Thank you, June. The next award is going to go to someone for urgency. And this is an interesting award because urgency takes a lot of different shapes. Again, this is going to go to someone who isn't sitting in the room today because they are juggling many balls as they do. And we thought a lot about this award, and we gave this award out to someone who took on something that had to be done in a short time period in addition to their regular job. And it was a big project. I hope we all feel this is a big project, and that's the personal development program. So we want to present this award to Megan Gregory for all her hard work to help us kick off and run the personal development program. Megan, thank you very much. Megan put a lot of effort in. There wasn't a lot of runway as usual. She put it together, and in my opinion, if we'd have given her 6 months, I personally don't think we could have come up with a better program than what she did in a very short period of time while she was doing her day job. So I don't know if we're going to give Lee the award in her absence. No, we don't trust him, do we? I don't blame you. Good choice. Good choice.
She wants that gift card.
All right. So the next award, at the end of the day, it's so important for us to celebrate all of the successes because it all ends up being measured, most importantly, in the top line revenue, because that's where we're able to take that money, reinvest it, make better products, invest more in our people, more in our facilities, all types of things. Matter of fact, you can start to see we got like 3 more paintings up. So you can see we're investing in our facilities. So we're getting there as those revenues numbers go up. But obviously that's driven by the sales organization. And this quarter, we have a top performer who was over 300% of quota, 318% of quota. And what impressed me the most about this gentleman is he had made his number probably halfway through the quarter. But as you saw how close we were to making our revenue number, we were pushing to get everything in. And quite frankly, it would have been just as easy for him to say, well, some of these deals, they're going to naturally go into next quarter. I'm not going to, it's not that I'm going to push them off. That's when they're going to happen. But Tom Aura went out there and took all these deals down that had a potential to close in Q2, brought them into Q1, and was 318% of quota. Tom, awesome job, Tom. Awesome job. Thank you. I hope you're watching. So, there were other people that had a lot of great success that I want to point out here that don't get the top award. First of all, I want to thank Carol Runk for her leadership. Her team was 120% of quota as a team, which is fantastic. That's what we're shooting for. We need to see this list keep growing. We need a broad list of account executives to make their number. And by the way, as you can see, we're going to give Russell the 0.3%, but not in commission. But we're going to give him the 100% because when you look at that, when I look back at the records, I can't be 100% sure because we haven't tracked it, even though we're tracking it now. I couldn't find a quarter where we had 5 reps make their number. So we're starting to get broader success. That's fantastic. So David Brooks, great job at 137%. Doug, another great quarter, bringing in net new business at 130%. You guys have seen the win reports, so we're not going through those. But Doug, matter of fact, Doug closed another deal this quarter, just this morning, as a matter of fact, at Northwestern Medical for another $275,000, bringing up our ASP. Let's give Doug another hand. And Nick, who just started with the company, over 100% of quota. And as I mentioned, Russell out there overseas. We appreciate all the efforts of our brothers and sisters overseas. And you can see that Russell brought in 100% of his number. So thank you very much, Russell. So we also got fortunate to have some recognition outside the company. And I think everyone is aware of this. And these awards called Stevies are actually become, at first I look and I say, hey, wait, is this real? But you start to take a look at the award winners of this that are out there. It's amazing the traction that this company is getting. And if you're not aware, we got 2 awards. One, a gold award for International Employee Communications that are phenomenal Academy team did. I don't know if we can call them Academy anymore with all this external production they're doing. I have to give them a label. We need a record label, a video label. I'm sure they'll come up with one. We got a gold. We got gold #1 for internal employee communications, and that was for get him off the bench. And then we also won the bronze award for story about your company. So congratulations to that production group. Awesome job. So with that in mind, we thought it might be appropriate to have another award that we introduced. We're going to call it the Jeffy. And that is going to be presented. I was thinking about the Profees. But I like Jeffies. But we'll figure that out. So for our first Jeffy Award, we have several nominations for Best Actor in a Leading Role. We have multiple nominees, and I'm going to ask Jeff Wilson to come up and help me with his presentation. Is this mic working? I know we're on a delay. Just in case Jeff says any cuss words, we're on a delay. There's your mic, sir. Okay. So, nominees for the Best Actor in a Leading Role. First nominee, Stephen Walters as Len Finkel, Day in the Life CEO.
Our next nominee, with a mic, our next nominee in the leading role, Stephen Walters, in No One. No one in particular.
Not working? And the third nominee, Stephen Walters, for, again, no one in particular. So with no further ado,
The award goes to.
suspense is killing me. Oh my God, Stephen Walters! Best actor in a leading role. Please come up here. Stephen, we have your award, which is a movie gift card.
Appropriate.
Thank you for all your hard work. You can pick up a
Appreciate
few
it.
tips.
Thank you. Awesome.
Here, you want to save that?
Yes, I do.
You want to save that?
Put that on the fridge.
Keep the envelope. Oh my God, we gave him two?
Yeah, it's two. It's, yeah.
Wow, there's another card in there. Do you want to say a few words? The mic's not
I'm
working.
good.
You
Good, I
good?
said enough.
You said enough? Good, do me. But next year, I'd like you to work out a little bit more before you play my role. Otherwise, I'm bringing Michael Cranston to play me. But that's not all, because a great production requires many, many people. So we also have an award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. You got it. The nominees are Lee Gregory.
Lee Gregory as Lee Gregory.
Hi, I'm Lee Gregory.
The lines took.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The next nominee, we have Remy Sutton as Bailey Finkel. I will let you announce. I know it's probably quite obvious.
And the winner.
Remy! Now, unfortunately, Remy could not be with us today because he is getting bathed and his toenails getting clipped. So in his absence, Josh is going to accept the award on Remy's behalf. Awesome job. Great training. Great training.
Thank you.
Thank her for us all. And Lee, work on your accent a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that, could put you over the top.
Thank you.
Hey,
A real British accent is sexy.
Try what I can do.
we all know the honors in being nominated, right?
It is.
All right. In case we really want to rub it in again. All right, so what's next in Q2? So what are our priorities as we look forward to continue our momentum? One of the things we need to do is we need to help the market monetize the value of MDM. We did some recent analysis and talked to Gartner, and just from what we've experienced, just kind of starting to crystallize, one of the big challenges in MDM isn't necessarily the quality of the product, the user experience, even though those are really important, but they have to build to helping our customers understand the value of MDM and how to deploy it to get real impact, because they're competing with dollars within their company. And what we found from doing our data analysis in our company is 2/3 of our deals go to no decision today. 2/3. That's probably about twice as high as most software markets. Most of the time you'll be 25–30% for no decisions. Part of the challenge is in helping them understand the value. But there's no question the value is there. We spoke to Gartner. The market is starting to understand this. They shared with us that 80% of their inquiries from customers is around this topic. And I don't know if you recall, but when I was here after a month, I mentioned to you that I had the pleasure of going to our customer advisory board, and when I asked them, tell me about your challenges, that's what they brought up. They said, we need help in justifying how this brings value, because we know it does, we just need to help monetize it. So one of our priorities for this quarter and beyond is to help our customers monetize value because it's there. And I tell story after story, and that's part of where we're going to, is helping our customers understand with stories, where I tell about Constellation that reduced their shipping costs simply by getting rid of the duplicates in their database, where they were making multiple deliveries to the same location because their customer was listed several times in the same database, and they were sending 3 trucks out with the same product on the same day. Something, and that's a very simple example. There's many, many more. There is a hard dollar savings, and it's our job to help our customers understand how to monetize that. So we'll share more with you in next town hall of how we're going about, and we're helping our customers do that. And we've already started by taking customer stories, taking business case analysis that had started here years ago, and I'm told this is something you had been thinking about for years, but had just never made it a priority. And that's why this slide is called Priorities, because we have to focus on the vital few, not the futile many. What are the most important things we need to focus on? So it's not always about some bright new idea, but it's about saying which of these ideas that we've been talking about should we be pouring our finite resources into. So we're going to share a lot more with you of what we're going to do in that area, where we're going to bring in people to help us and help our customers build business cases. It's also about qualified pipeline. Part of the reason that we have a high no decision rate is because we have opportunities coming to us, and very often people are coming to us because they want to hear about the latest whiz-bang thing they're hearing about, and everyone's talking about data and big data and all these things, and data quality. We need to do a better job of proactively going out and us deciding which customers we should be going after that we know are going to show the most value. I just got an email. How many people are Marriott members? If there are more consultants here, a lot more arms would go up. For those of you on video, not that many arms went up. So we all know about loyalty programs. Well, I got an email, as all the Marriott members did, that said, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Marriott and Starwood, 2 of the biggest hotel chains, merged. And they actually sent an email, after this has been like years, they sent me an email along with all the other members saying, your accounts are no longer linked because we cannot match you in both of our databases. Okay? What that means to Marriott, that is so big for them to have to do, because now in that same email they're telling me my points are going to be allocated differently, I'm going to have to log on to different sites. This is a nightmare for them. Well, guess who's got an email sitting in their inbox? Nick, the account executive for Marriott, and he's all over that. But that's what we got to start thinking about proactively. We can't wait. We got to see what type of problems are businesses having where we can walk into a C-level suite and tell them, look, here's one of your issues. Customer loyalty is one of your biggest items. Marriott, you're going through this big merger. How are you going to keep these customers? Well, we've got the answer for you. It's flipping it upside down and attacking the business problem first, and then talk about how data relates to that instead of talking about data and data quality and then going to find business issues. So those are the things we're focused on. We must continue focus on delighting our customers. All the things you're doing today, we need to keep on doing. Keep doing it, operating at the spectacular high level you are, because those customers are the ones that are going to be references for us to continue to sell, and we're going to continue a stream of maintenance, and it's the right thing to do. Fourth, we need to continue to expand and enhance the partner channel. Having partner deals, I mentioned 1/3 of our deals come from partners. Partners very often are in an initiative that has some other compelling event that's already been agreed to where MDM can attach onto. I've mentioned many times that the #1 MDM vendor has one of the worst MDM products, and I know that because I was with SAP for 11 years. They're the #1 MDM vendor because they attach it to ERP projects. People say, okay, I've got this ERP project. For it to be successful, I need to have good quality. So let's go partner with the SAPs of the world that don't have their own MDM and let them sell our MDM. We'll go out there and sell with them. It's not in conflict. The direct sales force is going to be working side by side with solutions engineers, but that increases our footprint and also helps address the issue of attaching MDM to a compelling project that has already been identified by top management. And we're landing some great partners every day. If I didn't mention before, I think I mentioned Productivity, which is another great partner, and Microsoft. One of the things we're doing this quarter, we've already begun. Heidi Morrison in the partner group has set up a road tour for me. I've already visited with 5 general managers within Microsoft who we previously had mostly been dealing with account executives and maybe directors. Well, now we're starting at the top, and we're talking about how we can help them advance their sales cycles through things like helping them migrate customers to D365 and other initiatives, and they're very excited about it. It's rare you'll walk into one of those meetings and walk out with an agreed upon action plan, and 3 of those 5 meetings we've had that. And not because anything great I've said, it's because of the great value we bring. And they said, great, we're going to agree to these things. We're going to attack these accounts. They're even talking to us about doing marketing campaigns for us, so we have a lot more to talk about there. We need to continue to progress in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Jeff, with Eric leading the charge, is hard at work with all of you collecting data to ensure that we're continuing to communicate to Gartner how well we're doing, and that's why, as you know, it's so important for us to hit that release of 7.0, so we can communicate to Gartner not only are we coming out with continued great products, that we're reducing our reliance on things like MDS, and that we're able to execute, which means we deliver what we say we're going to deliver. So delivering V7 is huge. Big priority for the quarter, as everyone already knows. If you haven't seen this poster, and for those of you remotely, the development team got together and they have a little poster that we've got on the wall here at Profisee headquarters. And if you can see the rocket ship, it's actually measuring progress up the journey to Planet, not MDS. So we're trying to have a little bit of fun with that, and we're giving out stickers. And thank you again, development, for all that effort. We know how much pressure you're putting on yourselves and accountability you're putting on yourselves to deliver that product on time for us and for the market. So thank you very much, development, for helping me think again. It's a lot of work. And of course, we need to achieve our plan. And here are the numbers that we have for all the organizations. We're looking at a total revenue of just under $5 million. I won't go through each of the line items, but you can see they're definitely substantial, and we're looking forward to achieving those numbers. This is all going to be achieved, with us having focus. We introduced the pillars of success at the kickoff meeting, and I urge you to continue to think about that, because this is what's going to make our company successful and help us achieve the goals that we have. It goes from helping our people, and that's where it starts. Talked about at the beginning, we have to continue to do that. It's up to you also to take accountability to help us help you. So please be verbal, talk to us. Talking about different things that we can do to further differentiate ourselves in the market. And that's both from a product perspective, but also how we position it. And that's something we're continually thinking about. And we're actually have some different things that we're starting to introduce. Light switch was just one positioning. But that's kind of the start of some of the things that we're doing to help us differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. We're looking at our pricing, all of the different things and the value that we bring to the table. We've talked about partners a lot. We haven't talked a lot in this meeting about sales execution, but that is vital. As you know, we invest heavily in that discipline. Every quarter, we've invested in bringing in the sales organization to help train them on MDM, to help them understand it even better, to help them get more exposure to the people here at corporate and products. And it begins with the employees and ends with the customer. We have to continue to be focused on them and do everything that it takes to make our customers successful. So I appreciate everybody sitting through some of these things. Hopefully it gave you a little bit more insight into some of the things we're doing. And most importantly, it gives us a chance to recognize some of the great accomplishments that we're doing today. So I do want to wind up to see if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask before we break for the rest of the day. Yes, sir.
On the first quarter revenues, that master items, there's other revenues, the data service, what's
Yes.
that service working on?
Great. So for those of you that might not have heard the question from June, they asked about the line item that said other revenue. That is primarily the third-party data services that we use, like Melissa Data and Locate, where our customers have subscriptions, where it's not really software license, but it is a recurring recurring revenue stream for us as we sell it to our customers. And that's something we're going to take a look at even closer, by the way, not just from a revenue standpoint, but from a strategic differentiator. Thank you for the question. Mr. Wilson.
The next pickup game, will
Yes.
there be money involved?
If I'm on your team, yes. If I'm on the other team, no. So by the way, if chance, no, but I'm telling you, what that means is that I brought our team down and Jeff brought his team up.
It was 1-1.
So we had a little pickup game. There was three of us. It was Chance, Eric, and I against Jeff. I don't even think there was anybody. Was there anybody else on his team? No, it was Alden and Steven.
A couple guys got in the way.
Because a couple guys got in the way. Actually, we did go 1-1. They beat us in the first game. We came back strong, whooped them in the second game, and then they ran. And we never had a chance for a third game, no matter how much I begged. Or was I just out of breath and I couldn't get it out?
I just wanted to keep you guys interested for a third game.
Yeah.
What was the height difference between the teams?
Yes.
Back to the French train.
What's that?
They needed to get
Back to the French drain. Even though, by the way, for all you guys, Alden is back in his office doing the payroll, all quiet, all day. You should see him when he gets a ball in his hand, man. I still have the bruise in my chest from this shoulder in this, what I still say was a charge, which wasn't called. I'm just saying. It was a fun game. It was a fun game. Any other questions? All right. Did everybody have fun out there at Homestretch that was there?
Yes.
Thought it was pretty cool. Thought it was pretty cool.
We will have on Friday.
What's that?
Next time we will have it on Friday.
Friday. So you know when we send out the survey, there's another improvement that we can do. It was a lot of fun. Matter of fact, let me thank Mary again. She dug up that charity and then coordinated everything. We were a little worried because the guy was a half hour late when we started, and so I was worried not about being late because I'm never worried about that, but because I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be best. We're not gonna have anything to do. But they really filled our day. And speaking of filling day, I think we're right on time at 45 minutes. So thank you everybody out there in the video world for joining. Thank you everybody for being here. Have a great day and a great Q2. Look forward to talking to you more.